You know, when they say that it's a small world, they are so right. And when I say they, as a saying that someone created to suggest that we're all connected and we all can run into one another at one time or another. I'll give you an example. Earlier, I ran into someone in the hallway I hadn't seen in almost 2 years, and they reminded me, man, it's been 2 years since I've seen you. And I'm like, no, it's been 6 months. And you know, with time, as they say, the older you get, the quicker time goes. It's very true because it really felt like 6 months ago. But then when they began to talk and reference the point in which the last time I saw them, it was almost a year and a half to 2 years ago. And I'm like, whoa. But what I was thinking about is, what if I didn't recognize this person? Or what if this person looked familiar, but I couldn't recognize where I knew them from? What if I wronged that person and they were coming to wrong me back in that moment and I couldn't recognize them, or I was blinded by the fact that I didn't realize the way that I left our relationship? This is why it's so important for us to be the best that we possibly can to people, because we never know when we're going to run into them again. And when we run into them again, we never know the circumstances in which we're going to run into them. I ran into him at my job. Imagine if he and I had a problem. Now we're both in a compromising situation. If he wanted to have a physical altercation, now I have to choose, do I keep my job or do I defend myself? Seems like I'll be caught between a rock and a hard place, right? We don't have to be in these situations, but oftentimes we allow ourselves to be in these situations because we're like, well, we'll never see this person again. I could do this person this way, or I could leave this relationship the way I left it. Do you think so? It's all cool until that person runs up on you or that person comes up to you and you're like, I know you from somewhere, but I can't put a finger on it. Thank God for remembrance. Thank God for memory. Cherish your good memory. Us young folks, we need to cherish our good memory because there's going to come a time where our memory may not be as good. But one thing that we can control, because we can't control the fact that our memory may fade over time, we can control the way that we leave relationships. It's one thing to not remember someone of where they were in your life, but it's another thing to not remember how you left that relationship. So be intentional about how you leave relationships, how you develop them, so that way, when you see that person again, it may take a moment for you to realize where you met them from, but you're not being reminded of how horrible you may have left it or how that relationship may have went sour and no one ever fixed it. And now they're coming to you in a not so nice way. That's a different type of conversation. Are you wanting to have that conversation? Especially if you have some control over how you left it before. Only you can control that. Are you willing to control that?